her for
Yes.
all the.
I mean, really important. I'd had just a little bit of a relationship with Caitlin from calling her games a number of times, when she was in college, but it was very important. Look, she's obviously the centerpiece of everything that we do. And most importantly for me was just connecting and building trust. I don't know how she does what she does and handles it so gracefully. I'm not sure, myself as a 23-year-old would have been able to handle it the way that she does and still perform at the elite level that she's able to perform.
White's navigation of the roster also highlights the complexity of roles and recognition. Players like Christy Wallace, Nalissa Smith, and Erica Wheeler experienced fluctuating minutes despite proven performance. Clark, by contrast, retained dominance over playing time and ball distribution. The strategic prioritization underscores the balancing act inherent in managing talent, egos, and expectations. White's mantra, "we over me," serves a dual function, reinforcing team-first principles while diffusing potential tension stemming from Clark's prominence. The careful praise of Lexi Hall and selective omission of players like Cunningham is deliberate. Cunningham's outspoken behavior, media presence, and willingness to defend Clark directly challenge organizational norms. By emphasizing Hall's virtues, White sends a clear message. Compliance, reliability, and alignment with organizational culture are rewarded, while independent action, even if effective, can invite scrutiny. This framing extends beyond individual management to broader operational philosophy. The Fever prioritizes cohesion and conformity to minimize disruption, even at the cost of limiting expressive freedom or spotlight sharing. Clark's generational talent amplifies these dynamics, demanding delicate orchestration. White's interviews, phrasing, and selective commendation reveal the nuanced interplay between talent management, organizational priorities, and media narratives within professional women's basketball. Every word reflects strategy, intention, and careful calibration.
Transparent coach. Like you're gonna know, what I'm thinking or where I'm coming from. And if you don't, and you certainly want to ask, but I'm going to be honest, and I think that I certainly appreciate that about her. And I'm also the same kind of psycho that she is in terms of like competitiveness. Now it comes out in
I'm not even going on
different ways. But we both just really want to win, and we want to set ourselves and our teammates up for success. And so it was really important for me, right away with her, with AB and with Kelsey, honestly. I mean, they're the core three, and building a relationship with Kelsey, who I also covered when she was playing in college, who's somebody that was really instrumental in everything that we did. And AB as well. I mean, those three were the priority for me in terms of like, look, I've got to really make sure that I'm earning their.
Now observe how White frames herself alongside Clark. She compares her approach to Clark's, calling herself the same kind of psycho, which isn't typical coach rhetoric. That statement isn't meant to impress. It's defensive, signaling credibility with a player who doesn't need validation. Notice the pattern: honesty, transparency, openness, phrases repeated for emphasis. Why? Because somewhere along the way, doubt emerged about White's ability to manage a roster featuring a transcendent rookie. Then comes the broader reveal. She elevates not only Clark, but also Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell as priorities. This is significant. It signals a politically safe, balanced message. No one player is untouchable, yet all three are critical. The language is calculated to reassure veterans while simultaneously signaling to Clark that she isn't being isolated or ignored. On the surface, it seems equitable. Beneath it lies management of perception and internal dynamics. The Fever must balance recognition of talent with maintaining harmony, especially when one player drives media attention, fan engagement, and franchise relevance. White's careful framing underscores her role not just as a coach, but as a manager of expectations, egos, and organizational optics. She must simultaneously champion Clark's skills while ensuring the rest of the roster feels valued and empowered to contribute, a delicate dance in a high-stakes environment.
Those three. See how I told y'all she got a lot of media training? She hurried up and fixed that, and this came off so smooth. So smooth.
Just come in and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. Like, it's about relationships.
Totally. But the harder you are, meaning the more you're telling the truth, the more they're going to respect you. So it always kind of comes full circle in that way. What'd you learn about those three that maybe you didn't realize from either covering them in college or coaching against them?
I think number one, just, with Kelsey's like just a pro's pro. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's so low maintenance. She just wants to play. Like, she reminds me of some of those guys back in the day who would just go to the park and just try to play pickup games. Yeah. Like, that's her. She just wants to play. She wants to know that you care about her. She wants you to be honest with her. And at the end of the day, she's low maintenance, and you just have to put.
Next, consider the viral line comparing Clark to Taylor Swift. On the surface, it appears laudatory, linking a player to a global pop culture phenomenon. Yet context is everything. White isn't celebrating stardom. She's illustrating the burdens Clark carries. Managing Clark's spotlight, the media scrutiny, fan expectations, and relentless public attention is complicated. This comparison underscores the challenges inherent in coaching a generational talent. White focuses less on Clark's basketball genius and more on her capacity to compartmentalize distractions while maintaining elite performance. It's an acknowledgement of resilience under pressure, not admiration for skill. The message is subtle. Clark's value extends beyond points and assists. Her influence shapes the league's profile, fan engagement, and media coverage. White emphasizes the complexities of managing such a player, signaling to the organization and the public that Clark's exceptional talent comes with unique operational challenges. This framing, while factual, also communicates caution to internal stakeholders. Managing a superstar requires nuanced strategy, balancing recognition, expectations, and team cohesion. Clark's performance is extraordinary, but White's narrative emphasizes that her off-court pressures are equally impactful. The Taylor Swift line is therefore a measure of respect for Clark's professionalism and an implicit warning. Handling her talent demands precision, awareness, and deliberate managerial foresight.
How quickly we were able to recognize just her IQ and her ability to pass and facilitate. And when Caitlin wasn't on the floor, she had to be a point guard for us. Yeah. Love that about her and her ability now to continue to stretch and grow. And with Caitlin, she's a hard worker because of what she's been able to accomplish. But until you see that there's no wasted, movements, no wasted reps, no wasted anything, you just have such a level of respect for how she goes about her work every day. And understanding the spotlight that she's on, understanding the weight that she carries because of who she is. And I've said this before, like, she's literally like Taylor Swift 2.0. And that somehow she's able to compartmentalize and come to the gym, get everything that she has to get done. She's off doing everything all the time, but when she's there, she's working. I have such great, and she's an elite mind. She sees things 2 or 3 passes ahead as well. And so it's just, they've all and have been just a joy to work with. And Lexi Hall.
Pay attention to White's tone when discussing the individual players. Mitchell is described with warmth. Low maintenance pro reliable, a veteran deserving recognition after enduring franchise struggles. Boston's assessment is framed as discovery, uncovering hidden potential, intelligence, and high basketball IQ. But when White addresses Clark, the tone shifts sharply. The language becomes clinical, almost detached, efficient, hardworking, precise. There's no warmth or personal connection, only acknowledgement of skill and productivity. Clark is depicted as a machine, a meticulously constructed athlete, rather than a person with relationships and emotions. The message is clear. Coaching Clark is about managing extraordinary talent and external pressures rather than building a conventional player-coach bond. This detachment signals the broader context. Clark operates under heightened scrutiny, both internally from teammates and externally from media and fans. Her superstar presence necessitates strategic communication from leadership. White's framing of the players demonstrates what the organization values: effort, consistency, and compliance, but it subtly highlights Clark's exceptionality. She's both the centerpiece and an outlier, whose performance and reputation require deliberate handling. This is not just basketball analysis, it's organizational strategy, signaling how talent, hierarchy, and perception intersect in a high-stakes professional sports environment.
Work ethic and her relentless spirit, she's just handled every situation that we put her in, coming off the bench, starting. She approached every game the same way. I think she's got a lot of upside still, left to go. It was just
So does this mean that Lexi's finna get paid? Because she's heavily praising Lexi Hall. I ain't heard her speak about Sophie Cunningham yet. Now, am I tripping? I'm sitting here listening very, very well. I haven't heard her say nothing about Sophie. Now, she's speaking highly about Lexi. Will Lexi be getting paid? Now, there is some word on the street, because y'all know I be having my ears to them streets on the bricks, is the Indiana Fever front office really wasn't feeling Sophie Cunningham like that. Now, we know Sophie did the thing with Sheldon. Sophie say little stuff online. She got a little podcast.
Notice White's emphasis on managing noise. Keep the noise outside the building, she says, referring not only to media and fan scrutiny, but also internal discord. The phrase signals the challenges of navigating both external pressures and internal dynamics. Clark's rookie season was transformative. Record-breaking viewership, unprecedented fan engagement, and media attention. Maintaining cohesion among a roster of skilled but potentially sensitive players requires constant messaging and strategic intervention. White's repetition of "we over me" underscores the necessity of subordination to team objectives. However, when a league's premier player embodies selflessness, the mantra's purpose shifts. It's less about shaping behavior and more about managing perceptions, egos, and expectations. Internal conflicts, from fluctuating minutes to unspoken rivalries, demand deliberate attention. White's body language and careful word choice reveal discomfort and awareness of these undercurrents. She must balance maximizing Clark's impact with maintaining harmony, a delicate equilibrium fraught with tension. Each phrase, each acknowledgement, functions as both guidance and signal to players, fans, and the organization. White's approach illuminates the subtle, high-stakes art of coaching exceptional talent within a professional sports ecosystem, where skill, personality, and politics intersect continuously, and where every decision carries implications for team success, player satisfaction, and franchise reputation.
Monetizing off this whole situation, bro. Which that's what she's supposed to do. Now, from my understanding and what I heard is that the Indiana Fever front office don't really like the Sophie Cunningham tactics. They don't like what Sophie be doing out here on these streets. Basically, it's kind of like a bad image, or it's not the Fever way. But at the end of the day, I'm for what Sophie be doing. Sophie stand on business. Now, this is all alleged, but that's just what I heard, bro. And what I heard, they ain't really feeling the Sophie way.
Now observe White's transition to Lexi Hull. Suddenly, energy and tone shift dramatically. Hull is praised unreservedly. Work ethic, consistency, and professionalism are celebrated. She's portrayed as a model role player, flexible, reliable, and devoid of complications. The contrast between Hull and Clark is stark. Clark, despite unmatched talent, is framed as a high-maintenance figure requiring careful navigation, whereas Hull embodies the ideal organizational archetype, compliant, team-first, and coachable. This dichotomy signals a clear organizational preference. Conformity and ease of management are rewarded, even if performance alone is insufficient. White's praise of Hull and omission of certain players, including Sophie Cunningham and Alyssa Smith, is intentional. Cunningham's outspoken nature, media presence, and willingness to challenge the establishment create friction in a conservative franchise environment. By elevating Hull and downplaying others, White communicates organizational values. Predictability, obedience, and alignment with management priorities outweigh raw talent or historical contribution. Furthermore, White emphasizes "we over me," reinforcing collective responsibility while subtly cautioning players who might feel entitled due to skill or reputation. The mantra serves dual purposes. It encourages team-first play while managing potential resentment arising from Clark's dominance. White's strategic framing highlights the tension between extraordinary talent, organizational culture, and leadership priorities, reflecting the intricate balance coaches must maintain in professional sports. Notice that reaction. It's extremely measured, almost careful. Clark is obviously the centerpiece of everything the Fever do. Yet Stephanie White pivots immediately to talk about trust, challenges, and team management rather than celebration. She's not praising Clark, not expressing excitement. Her words sound like someone trying to navigate a delicate situation, not someone honoring a generational talent. That choice of phrasing tells us volumes about the Fever's internal dynamics. White is walking a tightrope between managing egos and maximizing talent. The tone hints at a locker room where Clark's superstar status is both a blessing and a challenge. Every word is calculated. She must balance recognition of Clark's extraordinary contribution while ensuring other players don't feel overshadowed. White's careful framing is indicative of the broader organizational mindset. The coach must simultaneously celebrate excellence and manage potential resentment. In doing so, she signals that Clark's presence comes with responsibility, expectations, and careful monitoring. It's not just about basketball, it's about perception, culture, and protecting the franchise from internal disruption. This opening clip reveals more than an interview. It exposes the pressure points of coaching a player whose influence extends far beyond the stat sheet. Clark's dominance on the court intersects with organizational strategy, media attention, and the politics of team cohesion.